Okay, now moving on to the second part of my video. Now we begin with the verse 37 of Surah Ahzab, which is the number 33 in Quran, and the translation of this verse is, can be as follows: O Prophet, call to mind when you said to him, whom Allah had favored and you had favored. Cleave to your wife and fear Allah, and you concealed within yourself for fear of people what Allah was to reveal, although Allah has greater right that you fear Him. So when Zaid had accomplished what he would of her, we gave her in marriage to you, so that there should not be any constraints for the believers regarding the wives of their adopted sons after they had accomplished whatever they would of them. And Allah's commandment was bound to accomplish. Now, to explain each and every point in this verse individually, I have to divide the verse to explain it again. Okay, let's begin. O Prophet, call to the mind when you said to him. This is being pointed out to Hazrat Zayd, whom Allah had favored and you had favored. As I told you, Prophet freed him from slavery, made him his own son, and then even arranged his marriage with the noble tribe within the noble tribe of Quraysh. Cleave to your wife and fear Allah. These words were said when the relation between Hazrat Zaid and Hazrat Zainab had become very strained, and after making repeated complaints, Hazrat Zaid had finally told the Holy Prophet ﷺ that he intended to divorce her. Although Hazrat Zainab had accepted to be married to him in obedience to Allah and His Messenger's commandments, she could not overcome her feeling that Zaid was a freed slave who had been brought up by her own family, and she, in spite of being the daughter of a noble Arab family, had been wedded to him. Due to this feeling, she could never regard Hazrat Zaid as her equal in matrimonial lift, and this caused more and more difference and bitterness between them. Thus, after a little more than a year, the marriage ended up in divorce. And you concealed, now this is the translation, and you concealed within yourself for fear of people what Allah was to reveal, although Allah has greater right that you fear Him. Now, this is where the people have really, those who want to create trouble, they have created some troubles, and I have to explain it like this. Some people have misconstructed this sentence to mean this: the Holy Prophet desired to marry Hazrat Zainab and wanted that Zaid should divorce her. But when Zaid came to the Holy Prophet and said that he wanted to divorce his wife, the Holy Prophet stopped him from this only half-heartedly. At this Allah said, you were keeping hidden in your heart that which Allah intended to reveal. The real meaning, however, is contrary to this. If this sentence is read with verse 1, 2, 3, and 7 of the surah, one can very clearly see that in the very days when bitterness was increasing between Hazrat Zaid and his wife, Allah had hinted to his prophet that when Zaid had divorced his wife, he would have to marry the divorced lady. But since the Holy Prophet knew what it meant to marry the divorced wife of the adopted son in the contemporary Arab society, and that too at a time when, apart from a handful of Muslims, the entire country had become jealous of him, he was hesitant to make any step in that direction. That is why, when Hazrat Zaid expressed his intentions to divorce his wife, the Holy Prophet said to him, fear Allah and do not divorce your wife. What he meant by this was that Zaid should not divorce his wife so that he was saved from facing the trial. Otherwise, in the case of the divorce was pronounced, he would have to comply with the command, and thus provokes a severe storm of criticism and vilification against himself. But when the Holy Prophet deliberately forbade Zaid to divorce his wife so that he himself might be saved from what he feared would cause him defamation, Allah found this below the highest position that he wanted his prophet to enjoy, whereas Allah intended to effect a great reform through this marriage of the prophet. The words, you were fearing the people, whereas Allah has greater right that you should fear him, clearly point to the same thing. The same explanation of the verse has been given by Imam Zainul Abidin Hazrat Ali bin Hussein Razillahu Ta'ala anhu. He says Allah had indicated to his prophet that Zainab would be included among his wife, but when Zaid complained about her to him, the Holy Prophet admonished him to fear Allah and keep his wife. At this, Allah said to the Prophet, I had informed you that I would marry you to Zainab, but when you were forbidding Zainab to divorce Zaid to divorce his wife, you were hiding that which Allah was going to reveal. This has been taken from Ibn Jarir Ibn Kathir on the authority of Ibn Abi Hatim. Now, Alama Alusi, also in his Ruh al-Ma'ani, has given the same meanings of it. He says, this is an expression of displeasure on abandoning the better course, which was that the Holy Prophet should have kept quiet, or should have told Zaid to do as he liked. The displeasure amounted to this: why did you tell Zaid to keep his wife, whereas I had informed you before and that Zainab would be included among your wives? Now moving back to the translation. So when Zaid had accomplished that what he would of her, uh, this means that Zaid divorced his wife and her waiting period came to an end. The verse fulfilled his desire of her by themselves gives the meaning that Zaid was left with no desire attached to her because of the bitter relationship between them. And this status of affairs does not appear on more pronouncement of the divorce, because even during the waiting period the husband can take his wife back if he has any interest in her. But in this case, as we know, it wasn't the same, because both of them really wanted to separate from each other. Now moving back to a translation. We gave her in marriage to you. These words are explicit that the Holy Prophet had married Hazrat Zainab not because of any personal desire but under the commandment of Allah, so that there should not be any constraint for the believers regarding the wives of their adopted sons after that they had accomplished whatever they would of them. Now these words clearly indicate that Allah accomplished this social reform through the Holy Prophet to effect a great change which could not be enforced by any other means, which could not really be enforced by just saying, because the people were really hesitant at that time of doing this. They had this very strong tradition, and they would probably had not followed it. There was no way to put an end to the wrong customs that had become prevalent in Arabia in respect of the adopted relations, but that Allah's Messenger himself should take initiative to abolish them. Therefore, Allah arranged this marriage not for the sake of adding a wife to Holy Prophet's household, but for enforcing an important social change. And Allah's commandment was bound to be accomplished. And now we can move on to the verse 38, but I have to look how much time do I have. Wow, I don't have much time. Okay, the rest of it you can I would recommend all of you to go to the source which I mentioned and read at least till the verse 48. Verse 37 was the most important, and this I have already explained. Now why I had to bring up this explanation, because yesterday I was watching a video from that jackass, retarded jackass who names himself as Investigate Islam, and as usual he was trying to attack Prophet's character. Although Bible gives us so many bad stories regarding the prophets which we Muslims of course don't believe. I mean, we don't believe in these stories, but Christians do, so it shouldn't have been a problem for them even if it was true. Of course it isn't, but you know them, they just need a small chance. They've got blogs in their eyes, but they like to point out specks which of course are not there. And I really wouldn't have taken notice of it, but in this video of his he is involving some hadiths which are very weak of course, and as I already told you people that the moral standard of all the Muslims was not that high till at that time, and secondly not all of them were able to stand against the propaganda, and that's why these false stories came into the Islamic traditions at that time. Now with this I would like to end my video. If any Muslim brothers or sisters disagrees with me in what I said, then please send me an email, or of course message board is open for you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.